Howdy, folks. Welcome to Calvin Vollrath's Fiddle Jubilee. My name is Walter Brennan, and I'm really delighted to be here with you today. Now sit back and enjoy some great music by Canada's fiddling sensation, Calvin Vollrath, and his special guests as they gather virtually to entertain you. Now put your hands together and welcome Mr. Calvin Vollrath. Take it away, Calvin.
Number 5 of my Fiddle Jubilee show. I've had so much fun doing this and having a blast playing with the other fiddle players. It means so much. I'm getting contacted from other fiddle players now, other musicians, asking if they can be a part of the show. I want to thank you for your emails and your letters that you've sent, and some of you are actually even sending us a tip, like you're buying a ticket to the show. I really do appreciate that. That's going to keep me going. Thank you so much. Hey, just a little word about that first tune that I played. It was called Fern Lalonde's Reel. And I wrote that, a number of years ago. There was a lady came out to one of my shows, and she was living in Edmonton. Her name, Fern Lalonde. She was French. She spoke French, but she spoke English as well. And she just loved fiddle music. She had such a passion for it, and became a big fan of mine, and she would phone me all the time. And sadly, a few years ago, Fern passed away, but I wrote her this tune, kind of French-Canadian sounding, lots of Come On Savoy in it. Well, it's time to introduce my first guest, and I'm so thrilled to have Ethan Harty from Sedgwick along with me on the show. I first met Ethan when I believe he was 9 years old. He came as a young student to Camp Calvin, just kind of getting into fiddling. Well, I think he was maybe within 9 years, he won the Canadian Grand Masters contest, 2019. out in Abbotsford, BC. He's a special. He's a farmer. He's an old soul. He's a blacksmith, and he's a great fiddle player. And so I've written him a tune and about his blacksmithing. I love it how he plays jigs. And so this is called Ethan the Fiddlin' Blacksmith. Everybody put your hands together for Ethan Harty. Absolutely fabulous. Thank you so much. Wow. I love how you play, and you're fabulous. Hey, that people love the old soul of Ethan Harty. Keep it up. And you're a new dad, and you get yourself a new farm up there in Sedgwick. And I'm looking forward to getting together with you and playing some tunes in person. Now it's time to introduce my second guest. And his name is Ben Christiani. And he's a farmer. He's an engineer. He builds great big machinery, trailers to haul big equipment. And a wonderful fiddle player. I love the passion he puts into his music. And we're going to play a tune that I wrote for a good friend of mine. He passed away a few years ago, Mr. Gene Michael. I met Gene through the Wild Rose Old Time Fiddlers Association at the Monday night jam sessions when I lived in Edmonton, and we got to be good friends. We played lots of dances together, and he'd come to every one of my CD release concerts. He'd get up and play with me, and just a wonderful. He played button accordion as well. Well, I wrote him a tune in the key of F. This is called the Gene Michael Hornpipe. Everybody put your hands together for Ben Christiani. And that was great. Thank you so much. Gene Michael would have loved to hear you play. He was a great guy, and you're a great guy. I see all your posts on Facebook. You're playing here and playing there, and you're inspiring the younger ones below you now. So good for you. Hey, it's time for an old-time waltz. Back in 2010, I was approached by some good friends of mine, Liz and Jamie Durning. It was actually Liz that approached me. She said it's our 50th anniversary coming up, and I was wondering if it would be possible, Calvin, for you to write us an anniversary waltz to celebrate our 50th. I said, let me see what I can do. Well, it didn't take very long. I came up with this melody right here. This is called Liz and Jamie's 50th. This is for you, Liz and Jamie. I met a dear gentleman, I think probably back in 1988 in Miami, Manitoba. His name, Andy Ruson. He got up on stage and he called a square dance and played some guitar. And wonderful, wonderful man. And seen him many times after that. And I just loved his presence on stage, and he was a dominant man. And I wrote him a tune, called it the Andy Ruson Reel. And I'm going to play this with Ethan. But first, Ethan wants to say a few words.
When I was about 9 years old, after taking a year of classical violin lessons, I needed to upgrade the size of fiddle I was using. I think I needed a half size at that time, maybe. So we were in Myers Music getting a new fiddle, and I had expressed that I wanted to learn fiddle music. And it was probably Byron Meyer who told us, you should sign up for Camp Calvin. And so the next year, my mom signed us up, her for the piano class and me for the fiddle class. And I remember thinking, I wonder what the big deal with this Calvin guy is. Who's Calvin Vollrath? Well, little did I know the big deal that Calvin Vollrath is to so many people, and now to me personally, for so many years, even in my young life. I bet you if you looked at my CD rack or the playlists on my phone, you'd see more Calvin music than anyone else. So thank you so much, Calvin, for the dedication and the effort and the years of enjoyable music that you've put out, and teaching as well. So the next tune we're going to play is a Calvin tune. It's called Andy Ruson Reel. Andy was a friend of Calvin's from Manitoba. He loved fiddle music, and this is just a good reel that has that square dancey barn dance feel to it, and I just love playing it. So hope you enjoy.
Right on, Ethan. Wow, Ethan, that was wonderful. I know Andy would have just loved that. Great to hear you play again. Nice to be playing with you. Big hand for Ethan, everybody. Back in 1996, I taught at the very first Canadian Grandmasters Fiddle Camp in Ottawa. It was held at the Carleton University, if I remember correctly. And the fella that was running, the president of the Canadian Grandmasters at the time, was Mr. Len Grace. A wonderful, wonderful man. He did so much for music. We lost him a number of years ago. But at that fiddle camp, Randy Foster and I, my good buddy Randy the Fiddle and Fireman, we wrote a jig at that fiddle camp, and we named it after Len. It's called the Len Grace Jig. And I'm going to get Ben Christiani to help me out on this tune right here. But before we play it, Ben's got a few words to say.
Hey everyone, just like to take a second here and thank Calvin for having me on the show. It's been a great project to be a part of, play some tunes, see some fiddlers from near and far, and hear some stories and anecdotes about all these great tunes. When Calvin asked me to join in, he said, pick some tunes for the show. So I thought to myself, how am I going to pick just a handful of Calvin tunes to play on the show? There's so many great tunes to pick from. So anyways, I narrowed it down to some of my favorites that I like listening to on the road or in the field, playing for dances or playing at jams. These are some of my favorites to listen to as well as play. And thanks again, Calvin, for having me on the show.
Right on, Ben. That was wonderful. You're such a great player, and you're doing the world a service by entertaining with your fiddle and planting your seeds and growing the food for us and building your big machinery, your big trailers there to transport the big equipment. Hey, you know, speaking about the Canadian Grand Masters, back in 1991, young Cal went and competed at the Canadian Grand Masters. Now, I hadn't entered a fiddle contest in, I'm going to guess, 5 or 6, 7 years. Kind of retired from contests, but I wanted to help get my name out east a little bit, and I wasn't going to the contest to win it or even make the finals. I was going to get up on stage. You know, you had the preliminaries, and in the preliminaries, I believe I played 4 of my tunes. That was my goal. Go down there and play stuff that the people hadn't heard before, and hopefully somebody in the crowd would like it, and maybe I would get hired to do a show somewhere. Mission accomplished. Jim Hickey, the fella that ran the Pembroke Fiddle Contest, the great Pembroke Fiddle Contest, he seen me, and he hired me to come and entertain there at Pembroke the next year. And then there was a fellow from Quebec, Claude Jacob, I believe. He saw me, and he hired me to come and play in Valleyfield, Quebec. There was so many people there at the contest. I got discovered in Eastern Canada. That was my goal. And a bonus, I even came second in the fiddle contest. I was shocked. I didn't go there to win or even make the finals. I just went there to entertain. Louis Schreier won that year. But anyways, I have a video that Gary Hill, my good buddy Gary Hill, who's no longer with us, he videotaped this at the fiddle contest that day. I believe this was my final performance in the finals, and you know, I played one of my waltzes, and I played an old traditional jig, and I played a Jerry Holland reel, and I played, which has become quite famous, the old Fly in the Puddin', the first time for most of the people to hear Fly in the Puddin'. So here we are, young Cal at the Canadian Grand Masters 1991. I hope you enjoy.
that, Calvin?
3 years ago, there's not many people here knew my father, but there's some who sure did. He was a very good fiddle player. He was my favorite fiddle player, talking lots. And 3 years ago, he passed away. And my mom and dad, they loved dancing to the old-time waltzes that had lots of chords in them. And just about a month after he passed away, I just moved to Vancouver at that time. So I was kind of missing my mom and was thinking of her and came up with this waltz that had just a few more chords than some of the other waltzes, and called it Mom, This One's For You, thinking of her.
Wow, isn't that nice? Jake and Mary Claire, you're real. Now, there's got to be a story behind this, that last number.
Oh, there is.
Fly in the pudding. Where does that come from?
Well, it just comes from, it was after we finished teaching at the Emma Lake Fiddle Camp 4 years ago. On the way home, we stopped in. If anybody's ever driving through Lloydminster, don't ever stop at that Shell station that's got a restaurant on the right-hand side of the road. Because we ordered the special, and it came with butterscotch pudding. And you know, sometimes when you get pudding, some of the milk, them little bubbles, they look like they're burnt, and they taste real good. But then all of a sudden, it looked like a bubble. But it turned out that it wasn't a bubble. It was a fly.
Thus became the tune Fly in the Pudding.
Hey, look at that young fella there with all that hair, and it kind of looks like Travis Tritt playing the fiddle. Hey, fiddles have been so great. We got time to do one more tune in today's episode. But first, I just want to, you know what? It takes a lot of work to do this Fiddle Jubilee that I'm putting together, and I'm thrilled that I'm doing it. I'm having fun, but you know, with the pandemic and all, musicians, man, we just kind of ran into a brick wall, and we've had to find a new way to make a living, and so I've been making videos. I came up with this show, try to entertain the folks that can't get out. You know, where normally I would be out playing and people would be buying tickets to my shows, you know, that's just the way it works. And so I'm hoping if you're enjoying the show, that maybe you could find it in your heart to donate something. Think of it as the price of a ticket. Just imagine if, I know everybody can't afford a lot of money, and I appreciate all the ones that have sent me tips and donations, and they go, this is for my ticket for your episode number 1 and episode number 2 and episode number 3. I appreciate that. There's been some very nice donations. But if everybody just did $5, it would just be wonderful. I'm not asking for the world here. If you're enjoying the show and you can send $5, $10, if you can send more, that would be great too. But you know, we get lots of views every month on every program, and you know, when I see 10 or 15 people sending donations, it's not a whole lot, and I'd like to keep the show going. And like I say, I'm not asking for the world. If it's possible, if you can't, if you have no means to donate or buy a ticket, that's totally fine. I'm happy to do it for you. But if you're enjoying the show and you can make a purchase of a ticket of whatever fee you decide, that would be greatly appreciated as well. And it'll be through that's going to keep me going on with this show. Time for the last tune of the day. You know, back in, I think it was probably 2010, when we were all glued to the TVs, to the CNN, watching the 33 miners down in Chile that were locked down in the mine. They couldn't get out, and it was, you know, I'm claustrophobic. I was just sick. I could not imagine what these people were going through. And it was for days and days and days, day after day. And you know, and then, I can't remember how many days it was, but they found a way to get these people out. Well, when these miners started appearing through this little hatch that they built and brought them up through this hole, and they started appearing, I'll tell you, the happy feeling that I got, I had a celebratory jig going on in my mind, and just with a happy feeling. So here's a little jig that I wrote for the 33 miners, and I named it in Spanish, and I'm not going to say it very good, but it's Los 33 Mineros. Los 33 Mineros. I think. Something like that. I hope you enjoy, and we'll see you all next month.
By golly, folks, well, that was a great show, Calvin. Reminded me of the good old days right there. Hey, friends and neighbors, do us a favor and click on that subscribe button on Calvin's YouTube channel, and then you'll get notified when the next episode gets released. Because I know you ain't going to want to miss any. And don't forget to tell all your friends about the show. Well, that's it for now, folks. Until next month, take care, stay safe, and have a good day. See you at the next Calvin Vollrath Fiddle Jubilee. Yee Haw!